and welcome to the TheSeahawksNest live stream show. My name is Brandon Kane. Thank you for tuning on in today. A beautiful Thursday day here as we're just about to get to summertime. Hopefully it is nice and sunny where you're at, and you're almost to the weekend, just about there. And we are almost here to training camp, just starting to turn the corner, that final corner until it's about to happen. We got OTAs in full swing. And we're motoring our way through a little bit of the retrospective from last year, looking at all parts Seattle Seahawks throughout this month. It's a good time to sort of take that pulse of the team, where they're at, and also build up this case that I'm trying to build for this team. The potentiality, not that you're certain it will happen, but that there's definitely the potential within this team to become a contender, to become sliding into that elite state of mind. Now, it's got to kind of go through one particular path to get there, but it's a feasible path. And as I've hopefully showed with breaking these players down and breaking down different parts of this team and the defense, offense, and what they're doing, that you can see how it's all being assembled together, that it is a plan from start to finish that is connected in so many ways. The run game connects to the defense, that connects to the special teams and how you operate those units in general, the leaning to run the ball and to get the consistent drives, which will help against the kickoff rule. Defenses that is looking to stop, not bend but don't break, but no, we'll try to stop you from the jump, and that can hopefully restrict offenses, especially again with that new kickoff rule on the other side. So continuing this trend, this theme on this show here as we go through this, I wanted to look at Coby Bryant. He is not the best safety in the secondary right now. Julian Love is the best safety in the secondary and does not get as much love, no pun intended, as he absolutely should. Julian Love has been a phenomenal player here for your Seattle Seahawks. Maybe not star, but right scratching on the surface for how he's played. Been the full meal deal from the safety position, from ball skills to causing fumbles to being a good tackler to being able to play center field. Love does it all. But Coby Bryant was matched up very closely with him last year, I think, overall in performance once he finally slid onto the field. And the X factor I think that Coby really brings that really could have that potential demonstrable impact on the defense next year is his ability to take away the ball. He's just got this nose for the ball. I don't know if he's got magnets in his jersey and they got magnets in the ball and somehow it's sucking to him. But the guy in 3 years, even though he's not been a consistent starter all the time through those 3 years, first year playing more of the slot and then kind of had no man's land middle year and then came back and was able to play through a lot of last year. He's also been a guy who's had to wait to find his right position and where he's going to actually allot to best. And despite that, though, he's continued to push those ball skills along, and it comes through both methods. So he both has that Peanut Tillman-punch and a sense of timing to be able to rip the ball out, but then he can also make a play in coverage. This is a former cornerback that you've transitioned to safety. And I got to say, one of the reasons I really do just appreciate Coby's game and really am rooting for this kid is because he's had the hard path. He's had to really go through the difficult methodology to get to this place of being a safety. He's a two-time All-ACC guy out there at Cincinnati. He's the Walter Thorpe Award winner over Sauce Gardner, his teammate there in the last season. So he was a legitimate outside corner in college. That wasn't a guy that was just barely getting by. But then he comes to Seattle, and the first thing that we look to do right out the gate after he has a little bit of a tough preseason against George Pickens is we decide we're going to slide him inside the slot and that's where we're going to play him. And some of this was driven by the need of the situation where you just didn't have a lot of guys on deck to really lean upon to go call upon for that role. So he had to kind of do it in that first year. But he fit into that first year, did it really, really well overall, considering he had never played it before and he was kind of learning on the job. And then you eventually now transition him out to safety. So he's had to go between basically 3 different positions to land here. And yet he's really, I think, found a home. And if he goes out and has even, I think, the kind of year that he had last year, he's going to earn himself a nice little payday after this season, as it is a contract year for Coby. Looking at his PFF scores last year, you can see you got your top of the mark guys here: Kirby Joseph, Kyle Hamilton, Brandon Jones, Xavier McKinney, Brian Branch, Jabril Peppers there with New England, all very highly graded. As I spoke about Julian Love, you can see him there at number 7. So Love, a very high-graded player last year, and well-deserved so. The tape backs it up completely with Love. He is just outstanding on tape last year. So many great plays. But then when you get down the list just a little bit there to 22nd, you get Coby Bryant in there. So well-graded on his part. Well above average grade at 72.8. I tend to think about 64 is about right where you're at for an average grade across the board for NFL players. So getting above that, pretty significant little bump there on that part. Not maybe to start him on that, but you can see the highest rated guy on the board's in 90. So not too far away in the same respective things on that When you look at his full grades throughout the first 3 years of his career, you can see that first year he was kind of holding on for dear life there out of the slot. He's really not positioned to be a slot, probably more outside corner safety. You were just doing the slot thing almost by necessity than anything else. And then the next year after that, you can see his snap count went from 757 snaps down to 147 snaps in 2023. So it's just sample size data there. He just didn't play very often. And then last year slides into the lineup, and look at that across the board. Every grade is really nice. Every grade is in an above average state. 72.8 defensive grade, 79.5 run defense grade. And that's a run defense grade for a guy as a safety convert who's a former outside corner. 74.9 tackling grade for a guy that's a former outside corner. Very impressive, because the worry that you may have here with a guy going from outside corner to safety is that he's not going to be up to snuff when it comes to tackling. You love what he's going to be able to bring for coverage, but you don't know if he's going to be able to bring the goods when it comes to that side of it. And so he was really impressive last year, sliding to safety in the tackling, brought even some decent pass rush and the smattering of snaps he got without only 6 snaps, but when he did rush the passer, he's pretty decent at it. And then a good coverage grade on the back side of it. So a full meal deal player all the way around, gives you a complete skill set, and then gives you those ball skills and the ability to take away the ball on top of it. And this is what gets me so excited about him as a player for this upcoming season. Missed tackle rate is okay and fine, I think, for where he's at on that, especially lowering that down last year to 10.5%. He was a good tackler coming from center field, especially last year. You can see targeted only 25 times last year, gave up 20 receptions for just 200 yards, which played a lot of the year last year, a lot of snaps on the field, so that's really pretty good. 1 touchdown given up, 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, only a 75 rating when targeting him is interesting there. And he was more of your free safety rather than your box guy. They did use a little bit more of Julian Love down in the box, but as you can see, in this defense, you are going to be used in a variety of different places, including 42 snaps out of the slot and 12 snaps outside. So you're going to get a little bit of, using his versatility to your benefit a little bit with him. But mainly in that single high situation for the most part last year was how you were going to see him. And part of what I love about this secondary with what you've done with McDonald, I've talked over and over again about the fact that you're trying to create confusion prior to the snap. And you want to have players post-snap that can kind of do everything. So let me relate this to the safety position. In Julian Love, you have a guy that was an outside corner at Notre Dame, transitions to the NFL, much like Coby Bryant, kind of starts out playing a lot of slot, and then transitions then eventually here fully into safety role. So really kind of took the same kind of route that Love took, or that Coby Bryant took. And what you get, I think, in the benefit of this now is a player, because he's been forced to play so many positions, is that when you have a defensive-minded head coach that wants to flip coverages and flip it in so many varieties of way from pre to post snap, then now you have 2 safeties essentially that you don't really have to protect, especially when it comes to coverage. So if I've got to have a single high safety that's got to drive down on the slot and pick him up and stay tight in coverage, these guys can do so. If I've got to drive them up and play them in the slot and then post snap, tell them to climb to a cover 2 look or a cover 1 look or a cover 3 look, they're going to be very comfortable and able to do that. They're going to have the speed to do that. They're going to have the ball skills to be able to do that. They're make a play on the ball in addition to that. This is very unusual. I don't think there's another team in the NFL that's going to have 2 safeties that they're going to have starting with this kind of rich background and just multitude of skills, and then pairing that with a coach who does lean into that with his play calling, who just loves to have that in his play calling. And the more versatility that you give McDonald with his players, especially on the back end, the more that he can just run so many crazy coverages at you. And it just gets really, really hard to kind of identify what he's doing in that secondary for offenses so that they can pivot, so that they can counter. You heard Cooper Kupp interview with 710, a great little interview, a little snippet there where he was talking about how coverages have changed, and guys like Mike McDonald have been on the forefront of that, and how hard this is because you just can't get any pre-snap reads. You can't manipulate them. They're kind of now taking it to you. They're sort of dictating to you what you're going to do, as opposed to offenses, of course, doing the opposite in recent years, and defense just coming back, taking a little bit of that rope back, as I like to say on this. So let's take a little bit of a look, if we can, at Coby's snaps from last year. I want us to show you a little bit of those ball skills. We're not going to go as deep into this one today. I've got just a quick show here with you guys today on this, but I do want to highlight this guy because the potential here is that you have 2 guys that are ball hawks in that secondary, but you have a guy like Coby Bryant who easily could have had 5 interceptions last year in a part-time role. expand him into a full-time role. He goes out there and gives you a Geno Stone-like year for the Ravens did a couple of years ago. Remember Geno Stone, where, not the greatest of players, but had this really great season for the Ravens in that Triple Crown winning year, 7 interceptions, I believe. And I could definitely see the same kind of thing happening with Coby Bryant. He's in the right place, the right time, nose to the ball, and he has shown that consistently, despite the fact hasn't always been consistently on the football field, from day one. When we look at the first, I want to look at and highlight just the ability to take the ball away from guys' hands and just to be able to cause fumbles and cause it at the high rate that he has been able to do so. I can get my stinking thing up here if I get my player going. So a lot of these fumbles are going to come off of last year, or not last year, but his rookie year. But I do want to show these as well because of the fact that it's a skill he has. It's not something that happens to him with luck or whatnot with that. It's him making these fumbles happen. Sorry, that's not a fumble. That's an interception. Let me start with the fumbles. We'll get to the interceptions in a second. So ability to cause the fumbles here, even last year, comes up, boom, Kyren Williams fumble. You can see Cooper Kupp's right there to pick it up. Sometimes you just have bad luck. Witherspoon helps out on this play by coming up and grabbing and kind of holding them back so Coby can kind of deliver the hit. But the ball is fumbled there, as you can see. So it comes there. Ball's knocked out there. On the ground there, Cooper Kupp picks it up. So even last year, but I'm going to go through just a couple of these that he's done through his career here, because this is another part where he goes and gets you 6 or 7 interceptions, and he might go get you 3 or 4 fumbles caused in addition to that. And this is a highly valued skill to have in your secondary. Just has that ability on the fly to be able to get his hand in there and rip at the right time. You almost can't see it, can you? Like, how does he even get his hand in there? It doesn't even look like he just looks like he's on the leg, doesn't it? But rips it out. Tears it free. How about the Saints here in his rookie year? Underneath, Alvin Kamara. Boom. So does that look just like the play I showed you on the first fumble? And tell me this doesn't look the very much, and I want to show it's looking the same. So tell me that this doesn't look just like this. Where he can come rallying up, and this isn't him Peanut Tillman-punch. This is him just putting his helmet on the ball. Same thing he did on the last play. So when I say he's got a nose for the ball and ability to force fumbles, it's kind of on a multitude of levels here a little bit. He can put his head in there, or he can give you the Peanut Tillman-punch. Same kind of play. 6 fumbles caused in his 3-year career, Coby Bryant. This is the Peanut Tillman-punch. Harder to see on this one because the players are, with the angle of the camera, you can't see the hand getting in there, but I'll slow it down here. So this is the Peanut Tillman-punch. Comes in. Now watch the left hand. Watch that left hand. Boom. Boom. Right there. Right there. Right there. Against the Niners, how about Debo? Can't see it, I know. Debo ends up recovering his own fumble on this one. But Coby comes down the backside. Look at him just fight off the block here initially. Screaming like hell. Gets past Brandon Ayuk, who's one of your better blocking receivers in the league there to the far right-hand side of the screen. Ayuk can't get his hands on him. Comes back around. Look at the rip. See that hand there? Look at that hand. He's causing this. This isn't happening because Debo's just being flippant with the ball or loosey-goosey with the ball. He doesn't realize this guy's going to get to the backside of him this quick and then rips the ball out. Wouldn't surprise me in the least if we come to find Coby this year with 5, 6, 7 interceptions and then another three fumbles on top of it, 4 fumbles caused on top of it. Just got a nose for it. Kyler running in the open field. Again, the Peanut Tillman-punch here. So he's going to come up, left hand. Boom. See that left hand come in there? Forcing it on purpose. Kyler definitely was a little bit, you can see Kyler being way too, look at that ball up there. Like, that is not ball protection right there. That's what we call the opposite of ball protection there. Is he trying to dribble it behind his back here? What are you doing with the ball, Kyler? But Another nice knockout there by him. One more here just because I like these. How about as a special teamer? Full meal deal player, I'm telling you. Comes down the field here, beats his man as a gunner, rips the ball free. He gets that hand in there and he can just, like a meat hook, just tear that thing out. Just rip it on out. Rip it on out. There's a 2-play sequence I want to show you from Coby Bryant that I think really shows what he can bring to the table with the ball skills, number one. But it also shows some of the development with him as a player, because I don't think that he's been the same player he was walking in the door 3 years ago. I think there's some good, cool skills, like the ball skills, like the ability to cause the fumble, that stand out in what he brought into the table from day one. But I think he has expanded his skill set. I don't think you transition between 3 different positions in your young career and not have seen yourself be a really hard worker to drive to make that happen. And so you have him very somewhat, not early on, but he's just been somewhat of an early starter there at this point in time because he didn't start out the year starting. So he's against the Cardinals in the second matchup on the road. And he gets caught in a little bit of a pickle situation early on in the game where Kyler is able to target him. And Kyler targets him over the top, where you just don't have that cover 2 shell look on this play. You're more almost in kind of a man coverage situation. So what you have here prior to the snap is, though you do have a couple corners here on the outside, when it comes to your outside corner, that's Job there. And we got another guy, I think that's Witherspoon, down there to the side with the 2 receivers, with the 2 wide receivers here for the Cardinals that are over here on this side. You're going to end up in a situation where basically Spoon carries it to the outside. And then this is going to mean that then Coby Bryant's got to then pick up Wilson, the slot. And so this is a tough little pickle where you're 10 yards off. You got to play the 2-way go routes. You got to keep yourself clean over the top. You can get caught in between, and he does. He gets caught in no man's land as Coby Bryant. He's kind of squatting down on the shorter route, and they're able to beat him over the top for the touchdown in this game. Probably the biggest completion that I think he gave up all of last season. Tough coverage pull to have to pick up a receiver like that into the air on that. But what I love about this play is when they come back 2 possessions later, and you get the same look. And Kyler's getting greedy. Kyler's getting greedy. Because again, here you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to have a receiver get uncovered on this play, coming up over the top. They're going to try to run essentially a crosser back in front of, instead of it being a deep route. So it's not the same kind of route. That was more of a corner route they ran before. This is a crosser. But again, they're trying to attack Coby Bryant in coverage here. And on this play, he plays it right and plays it true. So he's got to pick up the receiver out of the slot again there and jumps the route. Just off from one possession to the other, making a bit of an adjustment. And that's a hell of an adjustment to make. Where not only are you not giving up the completion, not only are you tight in coverage, but you got Kyler here set up to jump this route and go make the play. One of his 3 interceptions on the year. So you love to see that he can kind of learn and clean up his mistakes. It's that old axiom where he'll make a mistake, but he won't make the same mistake twice. And that's a good player. That's the kind of player that you know you can build upon. You can grow his game. And I think little plays like this and just a quick sequence like this does absolutely show this off. But that's a tough assignment. You got to pick up a crosser uncovered out of the slot, going back across the field. But he recognizes the crossing route and jumps it. Recognize the route. That's what allows him to jump this, is he sees it's going to be a crosser here very early and really engages and jumps it. Great play. Great play by Coby. He did have a couple of other interceptions last year too, and near pick situations. Here's the one it's one from his rookie year actually. So this is him operating on the slot on a tight end. A nice little pick here. Just a bad throw by Kyler. Kyler doesn't always deal with pressure in the best of ways. In the Atlanta game from last year, this is going to be pressure up front. It's going to cause this throw to be forced a little bit faster than Kirk Cousins would have liked. You've got single high situation here, so you got to read it all. You go to cover 2 post snap. So part of Mike McDonald, we're going to show you cover 1. Got a little bit of a press look to the high side, slightly off coverage to the bottom side of the screen. Probably looks cover 1 to Kirk Cousins. What does it become post snap? Cover 2. Slide into cover 2 post snap. And then you basically flood the middle of the field with 3 bodies to take away the middle of the field read for Kurt. And that squeezes everything down to where Kurt's now going to sail this ball over the top because he's trying to keep it out of the reach of those defenders in front. That's the big issue for him here is Cousins is worried about the defenders in front of the receiver. He's also got pressure coming down. So it's where a great coverage call with good pressure and then the ball skills of Coby Bryant on the back end all come together to make this play work. Nice pick on his part there. Be in the right place, right time. You don't always have to jump a route as a safety. And on some of his interceptions, just being in the right place, the right time is sometimes going to be enough. Certainly he's got this interception where it's much the same way. This is caused by Devin Witherspoon just making a magnificent play here, forcing Kyler to throw this ball. Coby Bryant waiting in the wings, ready to go get that interception and takes it back for the pick 6. It's that pick 6, takes it all the way back. Give him the Marshawn. Give him the nut grab. Yeah, give him that nut grab. You earned it, buddy. You definitely earned it. There was also a couple of, with the 3 interceptions he had last year, a few near pick situations. Pressure from Jaron Reed. Forces the throw a little bit early there from Stafford. Can't step into it. Ball's underthrown. He jumps the route from center field here. Shows you a little bit of his coverage area here. Can't quite reel it in. It's ruled incomplete. I think it barely touched the ground. But this far away from interception number 4 on this play. Really playing it well in center field. You think you're going to get some really top-end coverage skills if you're going to transition a guy from cornerback to safety. That he's going to be able to read some things a little bit better than maybe your typical pure safety would. It's another one where very close to being a pick. Witherspoon's really tight in coverage. And Brock Purdy here is trying to kind of force this one to Parasol. I showed this a couple days ago on Witherspoon's tape. You've got Witherspoon to the left there. So the route's cutting in. This is supposed to go in front of Parasol, but Witherspoon's in front of him. So Brock tries to throw it on the back shoulder, and Coby Bryant's right there. I think that Parasol gets his fingers on the ball here, which allows it to not be intercepted. But Coby's right there to make the play. And watching the tape with him last year, just always seemingly in the right place. For a guy that's kind of learning this position and you'd think would be having some rough moments, especially in the third position he's had to learn. Very impressed to see just how much he's on every detail. You just don't see him blowing things very often, like that Michael Wilson touchdown. A couple other moments here were just really good in coverage last year. You got him bombing the screen. Stafford tries to come back late here, and he's right in the middle of the field. So you can see Coby 8 right there in the center of your field, center of your screen there. Stafford again, pressure, forces these kind of throws. How do you get interceptions? Usually you're going to see it on the back of some pressure being caused by somebody. Byron Murphy causing the pressure. Stafford trying to get to that second read. Never throw back across your body to the middle of the field late. That is the golden rule. Never back across your body to the middle of the field because bad things happen. But when you got the arm talent of Stafford, sometimes you just can't help yourself. Nice play there by Coby. Here he's going to have to kind of play from a cover 2 look here. So he's going to pick up the receiver, dragging across the formation, help out his guy on this one. And you like this because Witherspoon kind of, I don't know if it's on purpose, like if Witherspoon's playing more of a zone there, or if it's just that the guy got him on a nice, Witherspoon kind of got given the business here on the press. As a tight end receiver got real physical with him there. But Coby picks up his teammate. He recognizes that there's some separation here. So watch top of your screen there with Witherspoon from the slot. He gets kind of pushed away out of the play there. And then you have separation there. So Josh Allen's breaking the pocket, but you got pure separation there now where Witherspoon's playing catch up. There's a good 2-3 yards difference. Now Bryant sees it. He feels it the whole way here from center field. And then jumps right in front of the play there to break it up. Fantastic play here to recognize Witherspoon was in trouble. And then get on that route, press that route, squeeze it, force that incompletion like he does. Great play there. Really nice play. What are safeties there? They're there to be a safety valve. Safety valve deep, safety valve for other players where if their coverage gets blown, a guy gets free, you're there to clean it up. It's in the name itself. Tackling was good last year with him. Showed you the tackling numbers with PFF, which was well graded. This is a 3rd and 11. Showed this play a couple of days ago. He's going to be out a little bit on an island here. A little bit like I showed with the Wilson rep where you've got Juwan Jennings here uncovered from the slot. So Juwan, free release, uncovered. You here about 12 yards off of where he's standing right now. Two-way routes, all that other stuff. You're running a stack box on the front of this, so you're trying to force this throw fast. It's a 3rd and 9, or 3rd and 11, sorry. So McDonald calls a play call here where he stacks the box to force the hot throw with Purdy. Hot throw going to Juwan Jennings on the out route. And then a good job by Bryant. Look at how he just rallies up, drives on the route, loses the tackle at first, but stays with it. And doesn't really give up any extra yards, even though he does lose the tackle here initially. He's feisty. He's really feisty. And this is a hell of a rep. That's not an easy draw for a safety. Having to pick that up from center field. Or not center field, but from the 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. Because that receiver can be going any which way. You don't have the sideline to your benefit. They got the two-way goes they can go. They can drag across the field. They can cut out, say nothing if there's an option route. Well done on his part, though. Very, very well done on his part. Another one here where you almost get an interception thrown back to Tariq Woolen by Kyler Murray on this play. If you look at Coby Bryant, though, and when you're watching the eyes of Kyler Murray on this play, he's looking at first to kind of, as he comes out of the pocket here, he wants to throw to one of these guys. And so if you watch Coby Bryant here, I'm going to run it slow. So Coby first goes and helps his guy on the out route. So he makes sure Josh Jobe first has to pick up the outside receiver, and then Jobe is playing a short zone. So Jobe hands off his outside receiver. He's got to pick up the slot. Bryant realizes he's a little bit late on picking up the slot. Kyler Murray's breaking the pocket to that side. Bryant's got his eyes on Murray, eyes on the receiver. So slides to that receiver. Now as he senses here with Kyler, oh, that's covered. The outside guy's covered. He now slides back to the other receiver here. And why does Kyler end up throwing this haphazardly back across his body all the way across the field just as a prayer to Marvin Harrison? Because he's taken away the first and the second read there. He's under pressure. Things get a little bit compressed. You're in your own end zone. You don't want to have a safety. But a lot of these kind of snaps, I don't think they're really exciting to show, but this is the kind of snap that you see from him where you want to feel this from your safeties. You want to be able to have them go like this. And my kid's suddenly losing her mind all of a sudden. So you just want him to be able to read and react to things, not get just sucked in on the first guy you want to go cover, but realize you're in a zone. And so that means you got to sometimes, pick from one to the other. And he's reading Kyler's eyes here. In watching the tape, I think Kyler first looks to that outside guy, the out route, and then he's looking back to Trey McBride coming to the middle of the field, and then he goes to Woolen. So I'll play it one more time here where you can see. So looking to the out route, looking to the McBride. Now I'm just going to try to whip it across my body and hope something good happens. Very dangerous throw by Kyler, and this is really the kind of throw where you go, you're broke in the pocket, throw it away. You're going to go after Woolen. Guy's got ball skills across the field like that. This kind of the reason I get out on Kyler as a player at times, because this is the stuff you could expect from maybe a rookie or a year two guy, not a guy that's been playing for a good amount of years in this league. So we won't go too deep as much on Coby here with the tape, because it is a lot of those kind of snaps I showed before where he's sometimes just dropping to deep, being that safety valve at depth. But when he is given his opportunities, when he does have the chance to go and jump a route or go and make a play on the ball, he's going to take he's going to take a big advantage of it. And while this year he only had the three interceptions, and that's all of the interceptions he's had in his career, keeping in mind that year two he basically didn't play at all. He had 2 interceptions in his rookie year that were wiped off the board because of penalties that had nothing to do with him. So these ball skills weren't just something that came forward last year with him at the safety position. They were there even in his rookie year, even in the slot, even playing out of position, because he's much more of a safety than he is a slot. He was never really 6'1". He's not a change of direction guy. Him operating on the slot is not where you want him to be living. But living out there as a safety in this cover 2 shell look, able to do free safety and strong safety stuff, able to give you a full skill set as a player. It's not that it's going to be a star skill set, but everything is going to be a tick above average across the board. I think that those PFF grades that I showed you, where everything was above 70, are representative of him on the field. You don't see him giving up big plays. You don't see him blowing assignments. You don't see quarterbacks actively really trying to target him or go after him, save for maybe that Cardinal game where you targeted him, you got a touchdown, but then he made you pay the price when you came back on the other side and tried it again, didn't you? And so growth in this guy's game, a dog in this guy's game, he's got a little bit of the vibe. Somebody was talking about him yesterday. It reminds me a little bit of Doug Baldwin pissed off for greatness, where he is going to make this happen. I don't care how hard the path's going to be. I don't care what it's going to take. I don't care if you bounce me between 3 positions. I don't care. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to turn myself into a player in this league. I'm going to make my impact. And this guy after this year, I think, is going to earn himself a nice little payday on the back of having, I think, a good all-around season once again if he can stay healthy. But the real differentiator with him, the real part where I think his impact will come really monstrous in full swing to the Seahawks, because the consistent player, the dependable player is going to be nice on this defense. But the guy that can take the ball away, it's the most important thing you can do on the defensive side of the ball. And this guy does it in both different directions. He can rip the ball out, Peanut Tillman-punch, time it just right, and knock the ball free with his 6 fumbles in his career. Or he's got the ball skills to go and take the ball away on the back end. You get on both sides of it. And if this guy can come out with the rest of the aspects of this team coming together that I've talked about, being an offensive line's improved, being able to run the ball a little bit better, being able to get teams off the field a little bit more consistently with 3 and outs because of the way the defense is going to take some steps forward and the growth they've had and the returning starters you got. Then you throw on top of it with these layers I'm trying to apply here, the 7-layer cake, that layer of a safety in Coby Bryant that can get you the 5, 6, 7 interceptions and then get you 3, 4 forced fumbles over the course of the season in addition to that. And then you're pairing that with a guy like Love, who he himself is probably going to get you a good 3, 4 interceptions on the year with what he brings to the table. You're just supplied that alone by your safety position with all that is all then happening on the front side of that, the front 7. That's where we get to a dynamic defense. That's where we get to a defense that can be top 5 in this sport, with all of that working together. But he is a keynote player on this, and his taking to this Mike McDonald defense, his finding a home here in the defense has been just so very cool to watch, because I do feel like the guy got handed kind of some tough cards coming into it. I'm a 2-time All-ACC outside cornerback. Shouldn't that at least earn me the chance to get into NFL games and try to play out there as that starting quarterback to see if I can do it? I mean, maybe he was just so bad in practice and training camp practices at doing it, but I never felt like he really got the true opportunity there to be able to play that outside. And then when you forced him into the slot, that was not where he was really best suited. And so that was another one where you went, man, I don't know if this is what's best for this guy. And then even when you transitioned him to safety, it almost just seemed like, well, this didn't work here and that didn't work there. Let's try him over here. But that's not been the case. He has not just taken to it. He's not just holding on for dear life. He is elevating. He's giving you a difference maker for the position if he can take the ball away at that kind of rate that he has shown he's been able to through his first couple of years as a pro. You let me know, though. Coby Bryant, does he have this kind of potential that I'm talking about? Do you see him as being a guy that might be able to really break out this year? Because you go get yourself that many turnovers, 5, 6, 7 interceptions, a couple of forced fumbles in addition to it. Very few guys in the sport, I think, that can supply that kind of statistical impact from the safety position. But I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think? We'll be bouncing through here kind of quick today. We got shows set up here for tomorrow and into next week as well. I do thank you guys for watching today. If you can hit that like button, it does help out the channel, helps me grow and do all those good things. I appreciate you guys watching today, hanging on in here. Kendrick, do you feel Coby will get extended? That's where it gets a little sticky, Kendrick. So Julian Love right now is going into the second year of the contract extension he signed last year, which will have him at about $6 million as a cap hit. John lowered the first 2 years of Julian Love's contract to very low the first 2 seasons. That then means that there's a pretty big escalator that starts to hit into year 3. I think he goes up to $13 million per as far as his cost goes. And so then I wonder, and this is a guess on my part, Kendrick, in that does John not want to go over the bridge again of paying two safeties, high amount of money? Because remember, at one time or another, you're paying one safety top three, highest paid at the sport for the position, and then you're paying top 10 to the other safety. And then that didn't necessarily met out a great defense or a defense that was a difference-making defense, or that you got the impact of those guys in the back end with what you're paying them. You know, it's a little bit more of, much like the running back situation, we've seen the rule of thumb kind of be proven true, that there's a reason that the teams are not paying two safeties high money like that at the same time. And so I'm making a guess here, Kendrick, but I think that John's going to do a little bit of lessons learned on this one. And it's not then about necessarily Bryant not earning the contract or that they wouldn't want to sign him to it, but that you drafted Nick Emawari and you have his heir apparent here to replace him. And so that just probably makes it a little easier at that point to slide off and go the different direction. Because if you do sign him, you are now kind of relegating Nick Emawari to being just a slot guy, or maybe just a sub linebacker guy that you bring in. You know, you're not giving him much of a pathway in his rookie contract to go and to become a starter then at that point. And that could be where I think that's where that ends up holding that kind of deal up. But it's not Coby's fault. It's just a bit of the situation and the scenario of what happened prior to him arriving, I think, here, Kendrick. And I think Seattle's going to be hesitant on that one. We just got to wait until the new COD drops for Kyler. Yeah, HHG, I don't know if Kyler likes football that much. And I think some of it is just the inherent difficulties you have as an undersized quarterback. You can't see in the middle of the field. You can't throw over the middle of the field. And I think defenses are getting smarter with these undersized quarterbacks about understanding where they can and they cannot throw the football. There was a rep I was looking at last night where with Kyler, you had your slot corner and your outside corner slide to the sideline post snap, and then left the slot opened up there. In fact, I think maybe it's the interception play. So yeah, it's interception play. I want to show this one more time because I thought that this is when I say I believe that Mike Macdonald has solved Kyler Murray. There's a couple of reasons for this, and this is just one of the reasons here. You have, look to the top of your screen here. We have outside corner, you have slot with Devin Witherspoon. This is going to be the interception by Coby Bryant on the crosser. But what happens here, I want you to just lock in on the top two corners here, right at the top. I want you to lock in at these two guys right here on the top of your screen, Witherspoon and Woolen. Watch what they do. Look at that. Look at that. You see that? You see what they're doing there? I know it looks a little bit strange. So Woolen's going to go take the flat, and then Witherspoon's going to take the flat, and then Woolen's going to go drop into cover 3. But what they're doing there, what have I mentioned with Kyler? Make him force him to throw to the middle of the field. So if you're going to force him to throw to the middle of the field, you've got to take away the throws outside of the hash marks. You got to take away the throws outside of the numbers. That's how you do it. How do you set that up with your coverages? So if I stack two guys post snap for Kyler to look over there, and he's got two guys lined up, basically, look at them lined up. There's no throw there for me to make to the sidelines. I've got to come back to my other reads. And here I think he's just trying to target Coby on this play as much as anything else. But Mike Macdonald showing the want to remove those sideline routes from Kyler and not give him that. And this is where, if you look at Kyler, he's on the near hash mark there. So they're to the far hash mark where they're taking this. The field side, as they like to say. But you take away the reads he wants to make. You take away the throws he wants to make. That's what good defensive coordinators do. And at times with us in the prior regime, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't take away the throws that the guy wanted to make. But this is such a cool coverage here because Witherspoon, though he's picking up a man, is not really picking up a man in coverage here. He's like dropping to zone. He's dropping to the flat route zone here. All purposeful, all trying to take away from Kyler those throws outside the numbers because the guy just can't throw to the middle of the field. And you start to make him go through multiple reads in addition to that, and things are going to start to break down for him real fast, in my opinion. That stuff has not developed with Kyler with time, but it's really interesting to see Mike on some of these snaps with it saying, I know where you want to go with it. No, we're not letting you have that. I'm going to make you play left-handed. I'm going to make you play to your weaknesses. I'm going to make you show that you can still succeed in that environment. And a guy like Kyler, I agree with Mike. I don't think he can. I think if you make it hard on him like that, you're basically going to stop him. Jace, what's up, man? Jace, it's good to see you in the house. Long time no see. What up, Brando? I'm back and as a Marine. Well, congratulations. I leave for 3 more months of training in 5 days. Boot camp wasn't bad at all. Just have to be loud and fast. Let's go, Jace. Congratulations, man. We got a Marine in the house. Oh, that's cool. Very, very cool. And I'm glad to hear boot camp wasn't too daunting. You're able to get through it. For some folks, it can be a bit much, but it doesn't sound like a fun environment, that boot camp. I don't know if I could do it. So you're a better man than me on that, Jace. That's for sure. Much better man than me. Dicted says, Brandon, I think Reek, Love, Coby, Amamwari, and Spoon sounds pretty damn amazing. Ramsey or Alexander on 25 friendly contract would be the cherry on top for sure. But give me Clowney first. Hey, give me Clowney first as well, man. I want Jadeveon back in the building. Let's go. But you mentioned, and you're right, if you can maybe add that one extra corner, boy, you've put together a defense that is stout from front to back with no weaknesses, with great depth, an ability to run waves of pass rushers at you, a secondary with ball skills, 2 inside linebackers that can get off blocks and tackle like demons. You put it together, man. You put the crew together. That should be a top 5 defense if you added one of those 2 corners on top of it, as long as, of course, the health would hold up on both of them. Well said. Donnie in the house. What's up, Donnie? Happy Alternative Superman Day. Happy Alternative Superman Day. Hopefully it's a good movie. I haven't checked out the reviews yet on it. I'm a little worried. Some of the initial stuff I've heard out there doesn't sound great, but maybe Gunn pulled it off. Dick said, Brandon, I would be happy with 5 picks, 3 fumbles, 8 turnovers in 17 games. Would that be Pro Bowl type stuff? It might be. I'm trying to think about the NFC. It's possible, I would say. So much of the Pro Bowl, is going to be the reputation. So like a Brian Branch is probably going to get in there. A Buda Baker is probably going to get in there. But I will say that once you get past them, it's not as clear. I mean, Julian Love might be one that gets in there ahead of him as well, with where, his reputation is kind of going from a good standpoint of things. Kirby Joseph. So it might be a bit tough for him to get into Pro Bowl, but so much of that is, of course, reputational based a bit, and you're kind of leaning on that for that to happen. Seth says, I don't think Bryant's extension would be pricey, would it? If it is, he's probably not extended. Let's look at the sports. Let me look at the sports track here real quick. I mean, I don't think it's going to be where Julian Love's contract's necessarily at. He's just not in the same place of where Love is, where you signed him to that extension. But he would be a street free agent, so you don't have any real leverage for him at that point. I will say there's not a lot of guys being paid a lot of money at the safety position. I mean, Love's got a $33 million contract right now. Let's look at just the safeties here. I mean, a guy like Kyle Duggar with the Patriots has got a 458. Cameron Bynum of the Indianapolis Colts has got a 460. You might be kind of in that territory at that point with him as a street free agent, having to pay that. Hufanga last year got a 3-year, $39 million deal. That's, to me, the floor for Coby at that point as a free agent after this year. And you're probably looking more 343, 450 maybe. Going to have to kind of be something like that. So it's going to be relatively expensive. Maybe not a top 10 safety in the sport, but you're probably like top 13, top 14 if you pay him after this year. Might be a bit much at that point, Seth, especially because the Julian Love contract really starts to kick into gear, and he's going to cost, I think, like $13 million per on his contract after this year. HG, Coby got screwed for about 2 to 3 interceptions he had last year before. That was his rookie year. Yeah, he had 2 interceptions wiped off the books because of penalties. Not due to him. Not because of him. Jay says you kind of just get randomly told where you're getting deployed, but in a student status still for another 3 months while I'm in school. That's good. Hopefully you're not infantry. That's the one thing I would like to see avoid on that. I think to Brandon, the way our team is built now, we'll lose kind of high of number one. We will lose kind of high number of 2025 fourth-year players. John Sider may be rolling over some 2025 cap for 26. If yes, where does he spend it? Well, I think you're going to have Cross signed to an extension. I think that when it comes to Woolen and to Mafe, that's where there's a little bit of a question with those guys, if that's really what you want to do with them. If that's, do you want to pay those guys the amount that they're going to cost? There is definitely going to be a position where you're going to let probably a couple of these guys walk. I don't think all of them get signed. If all of them got signed, it means we had a magical year and everybody balled the hell out and, you just want to keep the band together and bring everybody back in again. But I think that they've made a bit of a decision on this already in advance of picking and choosing which guys they're probably going to be willing to extend and not extend. And I'm guessing on that one, so we'll see how it plays out with that. But yeah, you're right about the fact that I think that there's just kind of an inevitability on this, that if these guys all do kind of ball out at the same time, if Kenneth Walker goes out and has a great year, if Mafe goes out there and gets you 14 sacks, if Coby Bryant goes out there and gets you 6 or 7 interceptions and then 3 or 4 or 5 fumbles in addition to it, you're going to be in a place where you just can't pay probably everybody, and you probably don't want to have to pay everybody at the same time with the way that'll hit your books. So there'll be a couple of tough decisions in here, but first world problems, good problems to have. Having guys that are this many good guys so worthy of being paid. And maybe at the worst case scenario, you can at least play maybe a little bit of the compensatory game if it's going to go down this line. Was Duran asking about the, I'm sorry, late. Why is he the Red Mamba? It's a great question, Duran, and I probably should have said that at the top. So he has Coby Bryant's name, of course, Coby Bryant. And so he went to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has the red colors. So he was called at Cincinnati, Duran, the Red Mamba. He's got Coby's name and the Cincinnati colors. Should you just have Clowney end his career in Seattle already? Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. We're getting through good there, Jace. Remember, like I say, stay safe out there. Don't do no hero stuff if you do become an infantryman. None of that. Young, I want us to add Jair so bad, though I know there are injury concerns. How many games has he missed the past few seasons? Does anyone know? I think it's been 7, 16, 7, and 7. Young is, I believe, the way that it went on that one. So it's the injury thing and the missing of the games thing has been, I got it right here. No, I'm off. So 2021, he only played 4 games. Well, he started 4 games in 2021, started 16 games in 2022, started 7 games and 7 games in 2023 and 2024 Young. So the injuries, he's missed half the games over the last 4 years. But he is still pretty young, But yeah, that will be the risk there with him. I mean, you are rolling the dice there. Part of why I'd like to get him on a prove it deal is that if there's any of this that he's had happen to where, because there's a little bit of I wonder with him is, you sign your contract extension and you go from being a guy playing 13 games, 16 games, 15 games to 4, 16, 7, 7. I wonder on some of these NFL players at times, are you kind of just, leaning on the contract a little bit, right? Just kind of like, I got my contract. Let's just get through the years, play enough games to kind of get by. I'm kind of hitting cruise control button a little bit. I'd be my worry and wonder a little bit with these kind of players. And I don't know if there's a way to know as a general manager if those guys are in that kind of mindset. I think with John, the good news maybe with this one is that he does still have connections to the Green Bay organization. And he can hear from them exactly about why they, how much confidence they have in his health and, whether or not they might feel like a little of what's going on is just what I described. Brian says, Alexander is a disaster waiting to happen. Risky, man. Roll the dice risky there for sure. And I'm okay if Seattle's out on it. I do like the fact that you don't have to give up anything to get him. And if you get him on a prove it deal, I can't think that he's going to cost a significant amount of money. But I could understand completely somebody being like, I don't even want to go down that road. because there is that worry I have in it where I think once players start hitting the cruise control button, it's very hard to hit the cancel button right beneath it. You're kind of locked into cruise. You stay locked into cruise. Brian says, y'all see ex-Hawk quarterback Sam Adams get slapped by the state? Did he? What did he do? HHG only do hero stuff if you go on a blaze of glory. That's right, man. That's right. There better be a Congressional Medal of Honor if you're going to go out that way with it. Yeah, Space, I'd do Clowney if he's still around. I'd go for Clowney too. I'd rather have Ramsey too, Space. It is a little bit of a nicer deal, though, at least with Alexander, where you don't have to trade for him. Because I do think the compensation for Ramsey is actually going to be a little bit more than we're thinking. Because I think there's going to be a couple of teams that are going to be kind of in on this a little bit. But we'll see with that. We will see. I'm not saying Ramsey our savior or anything like that. He's the best cornerback on the market right now. Yeah, I agree. I think it's very fair, Space. He fits to the defense. He's got a good track record. 2-year contract still that you can get onto your books relatively well. Don't have to extend him. I'd rather go that route too, all things being equal. Young, how big of a contract would you guys like to see Ramsey on? 2 years or longer? Well, he just signed a contract extension. So from my perspective, I don't think that he can expect to come on to any team at 30 years old and walk in the door and expect that he's going to get another contract extension. So 2024, he signed his extension with the Dolphins there. So he's in the midst of that. Like, you know, he's technically under contract here through 2028. I do think you got to pick up his void years, which is going to make this a little bit of a kink situation because 29, 30, and 31, he's got void years, almost $10 million for 3 years in void years that I think you pick up. I don't think that stays on the books for the Dolphins. But his cost in 2025 for the Hawks would be, $4 million would be about $9 million in 2025. And then you're looking 17 in 2026. And then if he still was playing in 2027, 3 years later, you're at $13 million in 2027. So the contract over the next 3 years for Ramsey would remain the same, number one. He's not going to get an extension after just signing one in 2024, especially with the void years that are on the end of the deal. But he's not going to cost, considering $25 to $30 million is the high water mark per year for cornerbacks in the sport. We have J.C. Horn signed $25 million per year. You'd be getting him at between $10 and $17 million on a 3-year contract. I think that's pretty economical as far as a deal goes. But I did just notice those void years. That might make John a bit hesitant. Those void years are buried at the very far end of the deal. Jay Melfair, what about trading for the Bengals draft pick, who they are not paying, number 17 overall? I was kind of, Jay, it's great minds think alike, dude. I was thinking a little bit about this today myself on it, going, I wonder if you could go take advantage of the Bengals on this one, because it just seems like it's gone sideways there. The team loves themselves some Shamar Stewart. You do kind of wonder a little bit on that one. And the Bengals are being absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know if this is the case, but somebody said it online. And I do wonder, did they blow their wad on Chase and Higgins? Did they blow their escrow wad on those two guys? Like they had only this amount of money that they could set aside to give out for bonuses on contracts to get buried into escrow. Like, this is all we got. And once they blew through that, they're like, everybody else is on a prove it deal. No more guaranteed money. No more of that escrow stuff. We don't got anything left over. We got nothing left over at this point. It's wild watching the Bengals on this one work. It's like, look, I know you don't like it. Tough. Everybody else is doing it. So sell the organization, for the love of God. You can't afford the team. You can't afford to pay your players. You're pissing off vets like Hendrickson, who's absolutely earned a deal. Just sell the team. If you can't afford a football team, why own it? I wouldn't understand why. Like, I want to own an NFL team so I can be the welfare owners of the sport. Who doesn't want to be that? HHG, yeah, he's an edge. I don't know on Hendrickson. I don't know what they're doing. Hendrickson's another one. What are you guys doing with him? What are we doing here? I dig docs. Brandon, you got to quit making these great stats and video shows to support your opinion. You need to switch to 100% clickbait-filled rumors format. Just kidding. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Addicted. I know, man. Those are the ones that do well. I just can't do it. I just don't have the stomach for it. I ain't built for it. Young says, oh, that's right. I forgot it got extended not too long ago. Yeah, Miami put him on that. But that's the good part about Young is that his extension now means all of that bonus money is what makes the deal economical, because Ramsey's certainly being paid on average at that high watermark of a lot of other corners, but you just rip all the bonus money off the books outside of the option bonus money on the deal. And then that brings him into a much more economical state. Yeah, the Shamar Stewart situation is absolutely wild and crazy. And here's the other part with it. Shamar was a raw, rough guy that's got this great talented body and long length and power. And you're getting the mold of clay that you want to hone. You need to get that guy in the field. He needs to be all in OTAs. He needs to be on the field in all of OTAs. He doesn't just need to be in the classroom and learning this and learning that. He needs to be out there repping it out over and over again, or you're just going to basically toss his rookie year out the door, which is what the Bengals are going to threaten to have happen here if this contract situation is going to continue on into training camp and he's not then practicing at all. And now you go, okay, you're just throwing out the rookie year all the way out the door. Why do that? Because you're cheap? I don't. Again, I just don't understand what the Bengals are doing here. Nobody else in the NFL is doing this. You guys are the only one. That should tell you something here. And you're looking like a laughing stock in this situation. Young says, I've been saying that. I think they really messed up signing Higgins. Their defense is in big trouble. It could really be that, Young. It could just be as simple as like they're out of money. You make a couple $100 million in profit every year as an NFL organization. You give out those two contracts. You've got a couple $100 million now that's got to go to escrow. Maybe you just don't have anything left at this point if you're the Bengals franchise. What an awful look. PGZ in the house. What's up, PGZ? Man, that hat looking good. That hat looking real good, PGZ. It's looking real good, man. Thank you for the $2 don't know. He says, B-Dog, I see you. Looking 17 again. Salute. Yeah, we had to go a little bit. I got to do the beard break for the summertime, man. Got to air out the face a little bit for the summer and then get back to the beard in the winter. And I'm going to split it up a little bit there, PGZ, you know? Plus, carve a couple years off with all the gray that was starting to burrow into the beard. You know what I mean? It was getting a little gray. I'm getting the side gray going too. It's like, ugh. Thank you though, PGZ, man. I appreciate you, bro. Hat looking good. I need to get that hat too. Did you get the Jeezy? Did it give you the one with the? Tell me you got the Bigfoot pin. You got the Bigfoot pin with the hat, right? It didn't just. I thought I saw it on this shot where it was in there. Got to have the pin there with it. Jay Malfair, I report the AI clickbait channels every time I fall for them. They hurt real content creators. They do. And clickbaiting in general does that too, Jay Malfair. It absolutely does. And AI is becoming more and more of a problem, and it's going to rise up more and more here. And it just gets kind of just everything's going to get really overfilled, I think, by people trying to utilize it. And I'm not going to lie, there's going to be some ways I'm going to try to use the AI stuff too as well. But I'm going to use it more for the laughs, you know, try to create the. I've been thinking about doing like you guys have seen the AIs that people are doing with the like vlogging thing and. You know, they were doing like, I saw like the vlogging of the Old Testament, you know, it's like Noah's walking between the parted seas and but it's shot like a vlog by AI. I was thinking there were some ways I could do that with, for funny, like the football, have like Stafford vlogging on the middle field and there's like a fire burning and his guys are, it's just something over the top. But yeah, the clickbaits aren't helpful. Steven says, that's the first thing I thought when I heard they gave the money to the receivers. Burrow was happy, though, while the rest of the team has issues. Yeah, I guess it and maybe that's what happened here, Steven, too, is that you go, okay, Burrow's making a lot of noise right now. Burrow's getting pissed. Our guy's getting mad. We lost Carson Palmer once. We don't want to have that happen again. What does he want? Well, he wants Jamar, and he wants T, and he wants them both, and he wants them to stay. Well, we can't afford that. Yeah, but if we don't do that, then he's going to ask for a trade after this year. And then we lose him, and we probably lose Jamar, and we lose T. Higgins anyway. Oh, okay. Well, Sign them to an extension, then sign them both, and we'll just figure it out down the line. But we'll be out of money, Mike. We'll be out of money. Details. We'll get to that later. It's a bad look, for them. There's no way out of this Shamar lack of guaranteed money. You got to give the guaranteed money. This is the way it works for first-round picks now. John tried to hold the line on this himself a couple of years ago with the Devin Witherspoon thing in a training camp. Remember, Devin Witherspoon had a couple days where he was holding out. Didn't work out well for us on that one. It's not going to work out well for the Bengals on this one. Just do what you need to do here, man. It's too bad, so sad. So I got to pay so much money. Every other team in the NFL is doing it. You need to do it too. It's not like we're asking the Bengals ownership to burrow a bunch of void year monies 5 years down the line here. Just pay your guys what they've earned, or trade them if you're not willing to pay them. They're trying to take this option 3 where we don't want to pay them and we don't want to trade them. We just want to hold them into our midst and just force them to do what we want them to do. Like, really? That's what you want to do? BGZ says, nah, it's just a hat, but I love the hat as well. It's a good looking hat, man. It's a good looking hat. I wonder if the pins were like, you just had to select. I wonder if they stole the pin before they gave you the hat. It was a pretty cool pin. Addicted, I'm starting a channel before the season starts. We'll use BI and WI intelligence, booze and weed. Sadly, the channel won't even connect to YouTube. What's going on there? What's going on? We'll take Burrow off the Bengals' hands. Maybe so, man. Maybe it eventually does lead to that if this thing continues to go sideways. Because I'll tell you one thing with Burrow, he's going to go through another year next year, and they're not looking likely to be a contending team. Not in that division. Not with the fact that you consider that they haven't done a whole hell of a lot for their defense, considering they might still, before the year start, lose Trey Hendrickson on top of everything else. And so does that, Burrow goes through another year of being a superhero and just misses the playoffs again? Does he start squawking about, I'm tired of this, I'm done with this, I want to go to somewhere else? Yeah, wasted talent's right space. You feel bad for Burrow, man, because he's that guy. He's that dude. That team just, they can't get right. Can't get right. I'm willing to trade the farm for Burrow. I'd do it too, man. If it becomes available after next year, I would definitely do it too. 100%. 100%. All right, well, we got a good hour in here today. We're going to go ahead and put a button on that one. I'm going to be looking at tomorrow breakout players. That's what we're going to be taking a look at. So I'm going to be looking at the guys that I think are going to break out next year and help to potentially take your Seattle Seahawks over the top and moving them into that contending status. That's the thing that we know is kind of one of the parts of this team that has to come forward. We need the run game to come forward. We need pass protection to come forward, play calling to get better on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, that's for sure. But this is another part in addition to that we're looking for that part to take a tangible step forward, being that who are going to be the difference makers on this team? Where are the all-pros? Where are the pro bowlers? Where are those guys that can be separators for us? We know that the talent is there on the team for these guys to show up. Some of it's just about the development and the youth growing into their grown man body and realizing the best version of themselves to attain that status. So we'll be looking at the breakout players tomorrow. Monday is going to be a look at the use in NFL history, recent NFL history of the 2 quarterback system. Has it worked? Can it work? Can it be successful? Can the Seahawks bring out this weapon of Jalen Milroe from time to time throughout the football game to throw those teams a curveball, to make defensive coordinators throughout the week have to game plan for one extra thing, and in having to game plan for this one extra Milroe thing, that's one less thing that you can game plan for over here. That's one thing that you now have to ignore that you would have liked to have spent some time on. Instead, you got to put it on the read option stuff with Milroe, and maybe that can benefit this offense as a whole of making them just a little bit harder to deal with long-term here throughout the course of the season. So we'll be looking at that over the next 2 shows. If you guys can for me today, please do hit that like button. I'd really, 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 really appreciate it. We've had some great as well turnout as far as for the show. We're going to be doing, of course, the meetup down in LA in early October. Got the link here in the description section there. We've been talking about that on the NFC West Roundtable. So if you want to join us, we've had a lot of signups on there. Tickets are going fast. I think we only have 30, so I think we got about 11 or 12 remaining left here. They're really going fast on that. So if you guys do want to join us on that, $300, $100 down deposit there, come down to LA. You'll be there for the night before at the bar. We're going to be doing a meetup there. We're going to be doing tailgating before the game. We're going to be at the game sitting together in the stadium. So the $300, the $100 deposit gets you tickets to the game itself in LA. It's a really cool stadium there. So if you want to join us on that, please do over on that side of it. We will be back here in less than 24 hours. Ethan says, you guys like Hawk Blogger? Hawk Blogger is really good, Ethan. I think he's doing some great work out there. And I think what really warms my heart to it, especially with him, is the fact that he's gone out there in the last year and really, gone full on with it, got their credentials and really ran with the credentials. I don't know if there's anybody out there that was asking better questions in the press conferences throughout the year than him. Really was standing out in that way. It's cool to see. Cincinnati Athletics are a poorly run franchise. Yep. Agreed. There's a couple of them out there. That's for sure. And it's a tough look. I don't get it with owners. Why be that owner? Why be that guy? Are the profits that good? Do you just want to own a team so bad? Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Brian Bo Nelton playing both ways at Green Bay camp. Yeah, they're going to try to transition him into a cornerback, I guess. Which, look, Max Melton, Brian, his brother, is a guy that the Cardinals are pretty high on. I think they took him in the second round out there. So maybe feeling like cornerback is what this family really should be. He should never have been a receiver. But it makes me feel a little bit better about it because Melton was one of those guys we cut away that we were like, boy, that one kind of hurts. He's going out there and he had a couple of games with Green Bay where he kind of balled out for them a little bit. Space, I like Hawk Blogger. Hawk Blogger's great. Brendan does great work too. We'll get the B&Bs going back again here once we get closer into the season. I'm jealous of the access Hawk Blogger has to the Seahawks press conferences. Love to see Brandon get that too. I'd like to get it someday too. It's cool to hear Dan was able to grab it. I'm going to try and apply for when I come to training camp this year. I'm going to try to apply for the media credentials and see if I can get them. I've swung at them before, and they're not very responsive over there on that side of it. But I am going to try, man. I'm going to try. I do work in the wrong state, though. Yeah, it's hard to get full time. But maybe for training camp, I can get a little bit of a select access in there. That'd be kind of cool. I'd love it if I can. I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you guys updated on that, though. All right. Well, we will be back here less than 24 hours to take a look at the breakout players for 2025 for your Seattle Seahawks. So keep riding with me throughout this offseason. We got a load of shows still on deck for you. It don't slow down here. What does that sign say to my right here? To your left? It says there is no offseason here at the Hawks Nest. You better believe that. We're going to keep it rolling. The year is coming along. We're almost there, just about a month away from the start of training camp. OTA's cooking along well, and guys looking good, people healthy, contract extensions, all is well in the land of Seattle, on to, hopefully, a contending season. Us to get back in the playoffs, and let's go make some noise. So rock with me, ride with me, and let's see if the team can attain that status this year, reach those highs we're hoping they can get. Thanks for watching. Back very soon, but until next time, please don't you ever forget, don't do it. Don't do it. Go Hawks.